Clara Harris. She had it all: a successful career, a picture-perfect family, and a life many would envy. But one betrayal changed everything. On a July night in 2002, Clara Harris did something no one could imagine. She ran over her husband. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in front of witnesses and her own teenage stepdaughter. This is the shocking story of love, betrayal, and rage that stunned Houston and the nation. Stay with us as we break down what really happened that night and how a perfect life turned into a deadly tragedy.
To their neighbors, David and Clara Harris looked perfect. A nice home in Friendswood, Texas. Successful dental businesses. 3 kids. On the outside, they had it all. But inside that house, things were falling apart.
David Harris was an orthodontist. People saw him as charming and respected. Clara, originally from Colombia, worked hard to build her own dental career. Together, they ran Space Center Orthodontics, a practice that made them wealthy and well-known in their community.
Clara devoted herself to her husband and their family. David's daughter Lindsay and their twin boys. She called him every day and kept his photos at work.
Their marriage hid cracks. David grew distant, involved with Gail Bridges, a receptionist who became his mistress.
Clara was devastated. David's lies weren't just betrayal, they humiliated her. Gail wasn't just another woman. She was invading the family Clara had built.
Clara confronted David. The affair continued, and her mix of love, jealousy, and anger began spiraling.
On July 24, 2002, Clara Harris followed David to a hotel in Nassau Bay, where he met his mistress, Gail. She turned her Mercedes into a weapon.
Witnesses said Clara circled the lot, striking David multiple times. It wasn't accidental, he was killed instantly.
The trial shocked the nation. Clara's marriage and the affair were exposed in full.
Prosecution argued premeditation. Hotel footage and witness statements showed her movements were deliberate, a calculated response to betrayal.
David and Clara's marriage seemed perfect, but David's secret affair with Gail Bridges shattered that world. Clara had devoted herself to her family, and the betrayal hit hard.
Gail, a receptionist, started meeting David for lunches. By spring 2002, it became a full affair, even at the Hilton, where David and Clara married. Co-workers knew, but Clara remained in the dark.
Clara was seen as both a grieving wife and a killer. Witnesses spoke of her love for David, devotion to her children, and the pain of his affair. Opinions were divided. Some called it unforgivable, others a desperate act.
Prosecutors showed hotel footage, witness statements, and her movements in the parking lot to prove intent. The defense argued she acted in a rage, overwhelmed by betrayal.
In 2003, Clara Harris was convicted of murder. Lives were changed forever. David's reputation, the children's stability, and Gail's physical and emotional scars.
The case shows that appearances can be deceiving. Wealth and success hid betrayal and secrets that led to tragedy. The Clara Harris case is still studied for its lessons on trust and uncontrolled emotions.
No life is immune to extreme emotions.
Could this have been prevented? Comment your thoughts and follow for more true crime stories.
A week after returning from a family vacation to Jamaica over the 4th of July weekend, Clara asked David a simple question. Do you really love me? It was an ordinary moment, but the answer shattered her world. David paused, hesitated, and finally confessed everything. Secret lunches, hotel meetings, the affair that had been hidden from her life for months.
Clara confronted the situation immediately. She went to the dental office and fired Gail Bridges, telling her she could never return. Despite repeated calls to Gail expressing anger and heartbreak, Clara attempted to save her marriage. She wanted answers, asking David what went wrong and how she could fix things.
The answers Clara received were devastating. David complained she was too focused on their twin boys, that she wasn't paying him enough attention, that her body had changed since having children, and most painfully, he compared her unfavorably to Gail, claiming his mistress was more attractive.
Clara responded with action. She dyed her hair blonde to resemble Gail, joined a gym, scheduled cosmetic surgeries, and even quit her job to focus entirely on her marriage. She believed that if she changed herself, she could win back David's affection and repair their family.
Her dedication wasn't just about vanity. It was about betrayal, hurt, and the fear of losing everything she had built. Clara had been blindsided, and her life had become consumed by emotional turmoil. Every step she took reflected both her commitment and her deep insecurity.
But the affair was only part of a larger problem. Months of tension, deception, and strain had pushed Clara to the brink. Despite her efforts to salvage the marriage, the emotional strain set the stage for the tragic events that would follow the deliberate act that shocked the nation.
Months of betrayal and heartbreak pushed Clara to her limit. She had tried to fix her marriage, but seeing David's planned dinner with Gail triggered her anger.
Clara hired a private investigator, but when she saw David and Gail at the Hilton under false names, she drove to the hotel and circled the lot multiple times.
Inside the lobby with her stepdaughter Lindsay, Clara's anger erupted. She keyed Gail's car and confronted the staff, but knew the couple was inside.
The rear window windshield wiper, and I bent it many times. And then I bent the ones in the front. And then I scratched her car with my nails. And Lindsay gave me a key, so I scratched her car quite a bit, I'm sure.
Lindsay called David under a pretense. When he arrived with Gail, witnesses saw a confrontation escalate, screaming, punches. Clara swinging her purse and ripping Gail's shirt.
Months of betrayal pushed Clara past reason. Her anger, frustration, and heartbreak turned a confrontation in the lobby into something far more dangerous.
I was holding her hand up, like he used to hold my hand many times when he would call me there. I was his princess and his sweetheart in a very special manner. And I just looked at her. She wasn't even surprised to see me. I grabbed her by her hair on the right side. And I remember David saying,
The lobby fight was brief but intense, a physical reflection of years of secrecy, deception, and emotional strain. Witnesses later described the chaos leading up to the tragic events outside.
Clara's rage was visible. David pushed her to the floor and escorted Gail out, protecting his mistress over his wife and stepdaughter. Witnesses were shocked.
Known for her composure, Clara had reached her breaking point after months of betrayal. David's actions shielding Gail pushed her fury to a tipping point.
Every effort Clara made to save her marriage, changing herself, confronting Gail, had failed. The lobby scene reflected months of emotional pressure and humiliation.
David's choices escalated a private marital conflict into a public violent confrontation. Witnesses confirmed it was brief but intense, foreshadowing the tragedy to follow.
After the lobby confrontation, Clara and her stepdaughter Lindsay got into her Mercedes. Rage, humiliation, and betrayal consumed her.
Clara saw David near Gail's car. She drove at him, throwing him over 25 feet, hitting him multiple times despite Lindsay's pleas.
Clara stumbled out, cradling David, repeating, "I love you, I'm so sorry." It was too late he didn't survive.
And suddenly all I thought was what that man said. Don't go where they're going. So I thought, so they're going together in her car? And so all I thought was stopping that car. And I started driving toward where I had seen her car. And then I saw David running in front of me to the left, and I kept looking at him. I thought my car was going to stop right there in that sidewalk that seemed to be quite high. But my car kept going, and at that moment I didn't know who was driving.
Clara was arrested. She claimed she aimed for Gail, but investigators and witnesses showed deliberate, erratic driving. The scene shocked everyone, even given her history of composure.
I said, and we've also got the video. And she was like, video? What video? And I said, well, the video.
Oh, so she didn't even know
She
you had
didn't
the
even
video.
know we had the video. She goes, do you have a video of all the tragical parts? And then she proceeds to start doing donuts over the body. And the body had tire marks over it. Little Lindsay was trying to stop the car with her little foot. She's 17 years old, saying, "You're killing my daddy," sticking her foot out of the car, trying to stop this Mercedes, speeding around over her father. I wanted to kill my husband when I found out he was cheating. You know, it's like the first thing that goes through your mind, and then you suddenly your consciousness kicks in, and you're like, "Oh, that could never happen. How could I even think like that?" I don't think Clara has that type of stopping mechanism in her mind.
The story captivated the media for 3 reasons: the violent and public nature of the attack, the presence of Lindsay, only 17, witnessing everything.
Could you tell us if you did this and why you did it?
It was an accident.
He was what?
It was an accident.
And the family's wealth and prominence. Betrayal, rage, and scandal collided in a way the public couldn't ignore.
The trial began in February 2003. Prosecutors argued that hiring a private investigator showed premeditation. They claimed running over David multiple times wasn't a crime of passion, but a deliberate act. Witnesses confirmed Clara had the chance to calm down in her car, but instead chose violence.
The defense called it sudden passion. They argued Clara acted in the heat of the moment, overwhelmed by months of emotional strain. Witnesses painted her as a devoted mother and wife, devastated by betrayal.
Clara testified about her efforts to save the marriage, dyeing her hair to resemble Gail, joining a gym, scheduling cosmetic surgery, quitting her job, cooking meals, and even having sex with David multiple times that week. Despite everything, David continued the affair, breaking promises and driving her to a point of extreme emotional distress.
She described disbelief, anger, and deep sadness. She said she wasn't thinking clearly and didn't intend to kill David. But in the eyes of the law, seeing him with Gail triggered a moment that changed everything, a temporary loss of control with irreversible consequences. Clara Harris's case shocked the nation. The betrayed wife running over her husband in a parking lot captured public attention. Some sympathized, others condemned her as deliberate and brutal.
Video from private investigators showed Clara striking David multiple times. Witnesses, including Lindsay, confirmed the hotel lobby confrontation and her erratic driving. The jury convicted her of murder, sentencing her to 20 years. She served 15 and was released at 60.
No words from Clara Harris as a corrections officer escorted her to freedom this morning, but her smile may very well be the answer as to what it's like to be on the other side. Harris left the crane unit in Gatesville in a gray Ford SUV after spending some 15 years behind bars.
It's an accident.
Convicted in 2003 of killing her husband, Dr. David Harris. Harris, a dentist, ran her husband over multiple times with her car. An act of sudden passion, the jury ruled, netting Harris 20 years in prison. Prosecutors argued Harris caught her husband cheating with his mistress before running him over in the parking lot of the Hilton Hotel along Nassau Bay.
It's going to take an adjustment. There's no doubt about it.
Defense attorney George Parnham represented Harris during her highly publicized trial. Parnham says he hasn't spoken to Harris since the conviction, in part because Harris sued him, alleging Parnham fell short in his duties as her attorney. A jury, though, later sided with Parnham, who today wished Harris his best.
I think her close friends will welcome her with open arms. I encourage that. If she ever wanted to speak to me, she certainly is welcome to.
According to the terms of Harris's parole release, she's allowed to live at a home in Galveston County. Harris has 2 sons, twins now of college age. Since Harris's conviction, they live with a family friend in Friendswood. Neighbors there wish the family well.
I think she served her time, and I think she realizes, I guess, that, what she did was wrong.
The trial revealed a mix of betrayal, humiliation, and despair. Clara's life, a thriving dental practice, and family collapsed in one moment of rage. Her stepdaughter witnessed everything, leaving lasting trauma.
The case highlights how betrayal and emotional stress can escalate into extreme violence. Legal and rational options existed, but once violence occurred, the consequences were permanent.
Clara circled David's body in her car, performing donuts, while her 17-year-old stepdaughter watched. It was shocking and unforgettable.
She had a thriving dental practice and family, but one moment of rage destroyed it all. A private investigator confirmed David's ongoing affair triggering her violent reaction.
After her release, Clara admitted she saw red, unable to think of the consequences for her children. Her calm recounting was unsettling.
The case shows how betrayal and emotional stress can lead to extreme violence, leaving lasting trauma for family and community. Legal consequences can't undo the damage.
One decision, fueled by rage, can destroy everything.
Divorce, separation, or therapy are the only safe ways to handle betrayal. Violence has permanent consequences. If you followed this case with us, share your thoughts. Do you believe justice was served or denied? Let us know in the comments.
And if you want to hear more cases like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at True Crime Texas 214 for more updates and behind-the-scenes discussions.